So Vinfast, they're the ones that have that VF3 that looks like the Suzuki Samurai used to look. We're expecting it to sell for $20,000 in the US. They've just delivered their first VF9, which is a 3-row electric SUV. Start out at about $70,000. And there's a nicer version that's about $74,000. I mean, you really can't tell if there might be an exhaust under this. You cannot tell that this is an EV. You know, when I hear they're from Vietnam, it doesn't make me just think super high quality, but that doesn't mean that it's not.
Yeah, if you're going 20 to 30 miles an hour on a jam-packed street, it's a big difference than going 50 or 60 down a 2-lane highway.
Hi, I'm David with EV World News. I'm back in studio today with Mike Herzog, our resident engineer. How's it going today, Mike?
Doing good, David.
I want to start off today with Vinfast. So Vinfast, for those of you who don't know, is a Vietnamese car manufacturer that has entered the U.S. market. They're not subject to all the same, tariff crap that like China is, and their stuff is legitimately made in Vietnam. They're pretty much only selling in California at this point, but they've made arrangements they're going with the dealer model. So they're looking at franchising the dealers, and they've had quite a bit of interest.
They don't have a parent auto company, right? They're on their own. I mean, it's their CEO's a tech billionaire, isn't he? Or somebody prominent out there.
Yeah, so they're part of a conglomerate called Vin Group. And the CEO, what I didn't understand, they went public. And somehow they only released 1% ownership of the company into the float. And normally you have to do 30% ownership. So I never quite understood that. But based on what there was worth there for like a day, the CEO was worth more than like GM and Ford and some other things. I mean, it was some silly stuff. And it had something to do with the fact that they just didn't have a whole lot of stock out in the float. Anyways, they've just delivered their first VF9, which is a 3-row electric SUV. I mean, it kind of looks comparable like to a BMW SUV, I suppose, with the styling. They had a kickoff party in Los Angeles. The company was founded in 2017 in Vietnam. They just recently started delivering stuff to the United States. They delivered 8 VF9s. It looks like a pretty decent sized vehicle. They start out at about $70,000, and there's a nicer version that's about $74,000.
Oh, it'll sell. Kind of almost looks like the newer Highlander, newer Volkswagen Atlas. I mean, it's kind of got that same SUV style to it, more curvy than boxy.
You certainly wouldn't realize this was an EV unless you started noticing that there was no exhaust.
That's what I always look for. Is like, God, is that? You look at the grill and look at the exhaust.
I mean, look at the back of this, though. I mean, you really can't tell if there might be an exhaust under this. You know what I'm saying? This really, you cannot tell that this is an EV.
No, that's a sharp-looking car.
Oh, it has heated seats in the second row, heated steering wheel, rear LCD displays, panoramic roof, subwoofers, fog lights, cornering lights. That's kind of nice. That'd be a kind of a nice feature. It's always kind of made me wonder sometimes when you're going around and you're like turning right. It's surprising when you're turning the wheel that sometimes if the headlights wouldn't turn, let's just see what's coming up down. Yeah, what's coming down the road? Because sometimes you're turning right onto a street that's not well lit. You're not really sure what might be there. Anyways, they vary from 290 mile range to 330. Oh, the nicer version only has 40 less, but it's due to larger 21-inch wheels. I mean, those are sharp looking.
Yeah, they're good cars. I shouldn't say I don't know if they're good cars, but they look nice, and they seem to be doing the right thing.
When I hear they're from Vietnam, it doesn't make me just think super high quality, but that doesn't mean that it's not. You know what I mean? And
it's going back to Kia. They've changed my opinion on Southeast Asia car production and what it is, and that cheap, efficient model. Like they want to step up. It's still cheap and it's still efficient, but they put some nice quality into it as well over the past few years.
Well, to be fair, the Hyundais and Kias from 20 years ago weren't that great.
No. They got a reputation for a reason.
Yeah, and now, I mean, they're a fairly competitive. I think they're a pretty high tier car manufacturer. They still may not be super competitive with like Audi and Mercedes or Toyota or something, depending on what you're looking for. But I think they're a pretty good choice. But here, we'll go back to VinFast. But this VinFast, you look at that. I mean, is there anything about this tell you it's not just a regular? No, it doesn't have a regular dash like we're used to. So this is more like a Tesla setup here. But I don't know. I just thought that was kind of cool. Their presence in the United States will grow. We've been waiting. They're the ones that have that VF3 that looks like the Suzuki Samurai used to look, that is selling for $10,000 in Vietnam, and we're expecting it to sell for $20,000 in the US. It's supposed to be coming to the United States, but I haven't heard anything, lately about what's going on with that. And maybe they've just never been able to get all their crash safety standards. Maybe that's part. Maybe they need to ship some here to Nebraska.
That's always the question when I look at those cheap vehicles. When I look at and just the requirements and standards to be able to drive on highway in the U.S. And is that a huge reason why it's like, well, no, we can cut a lot of those corners out and reduce a lot of the costs, where it's the baseline, the cost of entry here, it's like, well, you have to be able to drive on highway or you're not going to sell it. So we'll see when everything comes back up and what those costs. That's a BYD especially. You see that in all those cheap cars and you wonder like, well, yeah, if you're going 20 to 30 miles an hour on a jam-packed street, it's a big difference than going 50 or 60 down a 2-lane highway. So you can get away with a lot more in those.
Hi, I'm David with EV World News. If you like this video, then please press the like button. If you like the content and would like to see more videos on electric vehicles, then please hit the subscribe button. If you have some feedback for us, please let us know in the comments. Have a great day.